Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. Our pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast, the podcast for late diagnosed autistic adults who want real relationships without fake masks. Let's talk connection, clarity, and showing up as your authentic self. In this episode, we're going to be talking about unmasking and what is underneath, because so many of us who have gone through this lifetime masking and not even knowing we masked, not even knowing, and we emerge and we're really unsure of who we are. Are we pretending? Are we the person we should be? Are we the person we think we should be? Are we actually ourselves? It just really gets confusing when people say to us, you need to be your authentic self. How do you do that? What does it even mean? Let's talk about it. Are you ready? Let's go. So back a couple of years ago, I realized that I had been masking. This is in 2022, that I'd really been masking and I didn't want to do it anymore. And what I mean when I say masking is that I've been hiding my feelings from other people. I've just not been expressing them. I didn't express the quote truth and the truth of who I am. The truth of who I am is how I feel about my experiences. It's just simple as that. That definition has really helped me move through the world with a lot more ease. Take it if you like it. So I decided that I didn't want to do it anymore because it was causing me more pain than it was helping me. And I thought that I had to be agreeable, I had to be likable, I had to be supportive, I had to grit my teeth, I had to not express how I really felt about anything so that I can maintain relationships. And when I talk about my feelings, I mean these four that I talk about all the time: your joy, your sadness, your fear, and your anger. It's not appropriate to show those to other people because it's vulnerability. They could attack it. If they don't like it, they'll attack it, and I'll feel like it's a personal attack. And it was just not doing me any service to hide everything from them because it just built up. It built up, and it was so liberating to realize that it wasn't helping me. It wasn't helping me to hide. I still had relationships where people wouldn't show up for me. Like if I was very sick, so being masked, I knew a lot of people. I knew my coworkers and they knew me. Some of them invited me over to their place for holidays and things like that. I knew them, but on a more intimate, close level, they didn't know me. And so if I needed help of some sort, any kind of help, I didn't feel like I could really pick up the phone and call them. I knew for certain that if I needed help at 3 o'clock in the morning, none of those were going to show up because I couldn't even call them for something simple, right? And so all my masking did was create these fake relationships. And so I got to a point in 2022 where it was time to take that mask off. It was time. And the universe did it in such an unforgiving, spectacular way to show me, hey, these are your friends, or these are the people that are in your life. They don't really care for you because I went through something and I realized I couldn't pick up the phone. So if you get to this point, you're going to want to take off this mask fully. The pendulum's going to swing all the way to the other direction. Or maybe it will for you. Maybe you'll be a little cautious about taking off your mask. But I needed some breathing room, so I just wanted to rip that off. And so I started telling people about me. I stopped hiding how I felt about things. If I disliked it, then I would say I don't like it. One of the big things that I did that was kind of the litmus test for all of my relationships was to tell people that I was transgender. And that ruined all of my relationships. Ruined. I would say more so that it revealed who I am to other people so they can see me, but also showed me who they really are and if they were comfortable with it. So if you're on the verge of opening up, or if you are starting this process and you're seeing some of these things happen, you're seeing a separation from the people that you cared about. I want to talk about 3 of my own personal observations and what I have done in these situations and what you can expect to help you go through this, because you're not alone. It's happening to millions of people. I'm telling you, millions of people are having this experience where they're waking up to the idea that the life that they thought they wanted is not the one that they wanted. It's unbearable. It's unsufferable. So you're not alone in this. So here are my 3 experiences, and I really hope that you'll get something useful out of these experiences, okay? So the first thing that I have noticed is that when I started to unmask, I really wanted to keep the relationship. I really didn't want them to dislike me, although I really, really wanted to speak my truth. Really, really wanted to speak my truth. I also didn't want to lose the relationship, and it was a bit of a tug of war with it. And so what I want to tell you is that you don't need to explain your unmasking to anyone. You don't need to explain this new experience that you're having, right? So I used to think people deserved an explanation. I think that I owed them a breakdown of what was happening. Look, I am diagnosed with autism, or I am transgendered and this is my life experience, and you need to accept me for who I am. And I was looking really for some kind of permission slip. I was looking for them to tell me things will be okay. But the truth is that the real you is not up for debate. It's not. Explaining yourself becomes a way to ask for approval when what you really need is acceptance. There's a difference, because approval is conditional and acceptance isn't. Approval is somebody believing that you're okay to do what you want to do. I approve of it. You are allowed to. You have my permission, but you never need that. You don't need that. Acceptance is completely different, because it's this belief that they cannot change you. They know that. They understand it, and they still rock with it, right? So instead of explaining yourself, this is what worked for me. Describe your needs. Describe what you need from other people. So I talked about this before. I was close with somebody, and I opened up and said I was transgendered, and the relationship just fizzled away. It was because I didn't know what I needed from them. I couldn't describe it to them. So what you want to do, instead of explaining yourself, is describe what you need. So you want to tell them about this new experience that you're having and what you're looking for. So in the case of my friend who didn't know I was trans, but wanted to be supportive, they seemed like they wanted to be supportive, because every time we talked, they said I don't have a problem with it. But it sounded to me that they had a problem with it, because every time we talked, they would say I don't have a problem with it, right? So it just felt that way. But I didn't know how to handle that situation. I didn't know. So instead, what I could have said to this person was, well, I just need you to support me when I'm getting rejected, when I'm dating people. Because if you don't know me, that's how the situation came about. I was trying to date people, and I kept getting rejected because I was trans. And that's fine. I don't want to date anybody. Doesn't want to date me. That's not a big deal. But the fact that I was getting rejected was weighing on me, and I wanted to share that with somebody to help me carry the load, to help me feel that I was a little more human, acceptable, lovable, such and such. And I just couldn't get that from them. But I also didn't ask for it. And I didn't ask for it because I didn't know to ask for it. So when you start unmasking, your needs are going to change. They're going to adjust. And the people that are in your life currently will not know how to handle those. They will not. So if you have an awareness of what you need, express it. Ask for it. You're not asking for approval. You're not asking for approval. You're asking for support and helping them understand how to support this new version of you that they have no knowledge of, right? So don't explain. Just share your needs. The second thing is, well, you're going to disappoint people. You're going to disappoint people that you care about, So you have to let it happen. I know Mel Robbins is out there saying, let them, let them. Heck yeah, let them, let them. And I know it's hard. This is work for you. You've decided to unmask and tell everybody your truth because it feels good, but not everybody's going to feel the same way about it. I lost a lot of people because I had talked about being transgendered. But here's the truth. And this is what I thought, talking about being trans was the problem. But here's the truth, is that they didn't know me. I surprised the heck out of them. Surprise! I'm this new, completely different person than you knew. And I expect you to love me and care about me just as much as you did when I was masking. But they're like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. People are going to be disappointed. Might be disappointed in you because you decided you no longer want to expend all of your energy supporting them. You're no longer willing to stay on the phone for hours on end listening to your friends complain. You're no longer willing to drive someone to the airport in the middle of the night. You're no longer willing to lend money because it's exhausting. You're no longer willing to sit through small talk or go to events that just exhaust you or drain you or bore you to death. You no longer want to play nice. People are going to be disappointed. They like that version of you. They benefited from that version of you. You have to try really, really hard not to get caught up in that. It is not your responsibility to make sure that they're okay. In fact, this is what I've come up with to help me with this. In fact, if you're not okay and you're in a relationship, they cannot be okay. You just can't help and support somebody who cares about you if they care about you and they see that you're upset. If you're upset in that relationship, it's naturally going to pour over in the form of resentment, backbiting, sniping. So you have to let them deal with their own feelings, their own disappointment. Let them be disappointed. Now, if you want to help build a relationship with these people, you will listen to their disappointment. You don't need to do anything different. This is who you are today. This is who you're going to be tomorrow. You're going to be this person you've decided to unmask. You're going to show them exactly who you are. You could hear their disappointment because they could be hurt and sad. They're like, I thought I knew you. Who are you? You can have a conversation about that. I would say, though, that when I have all these skills to be able to listen to people, and I practiced for so many years. But even when I unmasked, it was really hard for me to hear the rejection that I heard from other people. It felt like rejection, and it's hard for me to hear their disappointment. So what I did was create space. And I invited them to return at a later date. After I gathered my own thoughts, after I figured out who I am and how I want to show up in the world, and if I wanted to be a part of it, after I did my own soul searching, I reached out to them because in the moment I couldn't hear their disappointment. So that's what worked for me, and it might work for you too. So let them be disappointed, okay? The third one is that you are going to grieve the version of you that kept you safe. You are going to be upset, at least I know I was in my own personal journey, that I couldn't be that person they wanted me to be. I couldn't be that person that attracted others to talk to me, to appreciate me, to care about me. I just couldn't do it anymore. And everything that person represented was what this new person wanted. This new unmasked version of me is what they wanted. And I was sad that I could no longer have that. I just knew the pain of hiding was much, much worse than the pain of really being myself and being alone. So I know most of us don't think about this part, but once you start showing up unmasked, there's really a tumultuous heartbreak that happens. You miss the version who always knew what to say because it was programmed into you. You miss the version that got praised for being so adaptable and so supportive. That person who could smile through anything. It was everything that everybody ever wanted. That praise and a support has been replaced with what feels like rejection and disapproval and disappointment. But here's the thing, okay? This grieving process is natural. Anytime we lose anything, anytime we let go of something, there's a sense of, loss. And grief is associated with loss. When you're going through this, I want you to make space for this grief that's happening. Don't just push it under the rug. Don't just say that it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. I am healed now. I'm a better person. But your life has changed. You have to make space for that feeling. Process it and be okay with the fact that you did the right thing. You did the right thing in the sense that you did what is best for you because you know what it feels like to be masked all the time. You know what it feels like to really not be heard and understood and hiding in plain sight. You lost everything that comes with it, but you also gained something. They both work together, grief and loss. Grief and gain, or loss and gain. They both work together. When you gain something, when you lose something, you gain something. In order to let go of something, you have to get some. In order to get something new, you have to let go of something. So, take a moment to sit with that experience of everything you lost. What I did was I looked at all the things that I lost and the ideas, and I compared them to what I could gain, or I really sat in it and asked, did this really make me happy? Is it really what I wanted? How did it help me? All the things that I lost. I look at that and I let them go. The biggest thing that I did was to give it gratitude and say thank you to every experience that I've had, everything I've learned, and then say, I don't need you in the same way anymore. You don't heal by rejecting who you were. You go through this process of understanding yourself more and more. You heal more and more, or feel more and more like yourself when you respect who you had to be. Hey, real quick, I've got a special gift for you. If something in this episode resonated with you and you want to talk through it with someone who gets it, I'm opening up 5 free 1-hour consultations this month. And they're usually 30 minutes, so you're getting twice as much. And this is only for podcast listeners, so you won't find this booking on my website. Once these 5 spots are gone, they are gone. So book yours using the link in the description. Now let's do the listener letters. If you have a question about your family, friends, business, coworkers, anything that goes on with your relationships, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. How to explain my late diagnosis to people who don't believe me. For a couple of weeks or so now, I've been working through what I can only describe as emotional pain because of a heated conversation I had with a couple of friends. I was professionally diagnosed just over a year ago after a very tough year and equally difficult life, as many of you may have experienced. It's been a rough but insightful year exploring who I am and who I was meant to be. My husband is also late diagnosed, so discussing things with him has been fun. Only a tiny handful of friends know, and most have been amazing. One friend has been getting books I've recommended to learn more so they can be more supportive of me, their own family, and colleagues. Another friend is raising an autistic child, so he's been helping me with my social skills a bit. He's quite the small talker, so I asked him for help. However, there's been some pushback from other people in my life that refuse to believe my diagnosis. There are two people in particular who tell me over and over that I'm just lazy, I just need anxiety meds, and I ought to get on with life. Everyone is on the spectrum, they say. In those heated situations, I begin to shut down. I'm unable to stand up for myself and end up uh, mumbling nonsensical things that make me look stupid and feel like a terrible liar. This adds fuel to their invalidating conversations. I don't know what to do or what to say. For a long time, I've studied their behavior and I just don't jive with it well at all. I also don't have a great number of friends in real life. I'm aware a lot of people are just unnecessarily toxic for no reason and somehow think I'm supposed to be fine with it. I know how to keep quiet and recognize that I know I know to keep quiet, and I recognize that I mask quite a bit more around them than with my other friends. Assuming I can't end these friendships yet, I work with one. How do I explain my diagnosis and or other experiences better without sounding like I'm lying? I don't want to walk around with my diagnostic file like it's an ID. I hope that really makes sense. The heated conversation has really shaken me, and I'm in an emotional haze ever since. I'm not going to drop either yet until I get a different job and move far, far away. For now, I have to manage. So, how do I do it? Well, thanks for sharing your story. This is really frustrating, I'll bet, for you to have to handle people who just invalidate you and your experiences, and especially because you just can't leave. Because I would just kind of say create space between them, physical space. Like, just don't see them, just don't call them, just don't text them. But these people are, it seem like your coworkers and people that you work with, and you just can't easily create that space. So my first thought is that while these aren't friends, and it helps me to really think about definitions for people, labeling things, labeling experiences. And when I think about friends, I think that there's specific actions and behaviors that go along with being friends, with having your experiences validated. For one, they understand how you feel and they're interested. So those are people who would be friends. People like associates or acquaintances, they don't necessarily do that for us because they don't know us that deeply, and they don't really care to know us that deeply. So I would label them as associates because you work with them and that's what you have in common. And I do this initially so that I can set the expectations of how I need to interact with them. So I put them in a bucket, label them, okay, you're associates, you're no longer friends, because my friends don't treat me that way. And then it makes it a lot easier for me to handle them because I know what to expect from associates. I know that I cannot talk about deep, important things related to me and my character with associates because they don't care, they're going to invalidate, and it's going to hurt. And I'm going to get frustrated explaining to them over and over and over again, and they're not going to want to listen, they're going to invalidate, and eventually the relationship will be so strained that you couldn't even be associates. You'd have to be strangers to each other because no one wants to talk to each other. So dealing with this and knowing this is how your relationship is, their associates, I would not try to continue explaining it to them because they're just not going to get it. Your superior pattern recognition skills, you've been watching them, you know about how they show up, and they constantly invalidate you. So don't go in for more. Do not go in to tell them that I need you to know this about me and I need you to believe me. I would start reflecting on myself and say, why do I need them to believe me? I have a husband who does, who understands. I also have loving friends who do supportive things. Those are good people. Those are friends. You know, the people who are reading books that you recommend, people who are giving you some social skills. Those are people who are supporting you. How do you want these people to show up in your life? These associates they're now downgraded to associates. Step one, downgraded. You can't leave them at work, but also never talk to them about this. Never try to validate that about that. So I imagine, though, that it's not that simple. There is something job related that wasn't in this, that you need them to understand that you are not capable of doing something that's related to the job. And what gives me this idea is that you had said something about being lazy. You don't want them to think that you're being lazy, or they think you're being lazy, and you don't want that. It's how you're showing up at work, I imagine, because I don't know, but I imagine it is something related to that, and it might be something about your work performance that they just don't like, and they're thinking you're making excuses because they have to do more work. If that is the case, because we're looking at this from a friendship issue, I'm imagining initially that they're friends that you invited to your place, you talk to on the phone. They're not. They're associates. They're people that you know at work. They're not really friends. So that's something to really look at, the power of your workplace to help you advocate for you in these situations and accommodate you, because your leadership must get involved if it is affecting your workplace, if it's affecting your work life. Listen, if you're worried about how they're going to feel about this, forget it. I mean, like, not forget it. Look at me, it's being so harsh. You're worried about how they're going to feel about this, but remember that you're going to disappoint people when you show up. You're going to disappoint people when you really are who you are. They just don't get it. They need to know how they can support you, and if they're not going to support you the way you need, you may need someone to help you advocate. They don't know how to do it. Maybe they don't want to listen to you, but they will listen to somebody else, especially if you're aligned in meeting some goals for your company, right? So, to answer your question about how to explain your late diagnosis, don't explain it to those people. They're not interested in hearing you. Talk to the right person to help you get support and someone to advocate for you in this case. Just because it's work related, not on a strictly personal level. If it's on a strictly personal level, I'd be like, yeah, okay, don't talk to them about things that are important to you. And still that applies. Don't talk to them about things that are important to you. Keep it very professional, keep it cute, keep it demure, be very mindful. Hope this helps. Best of luck to you. Hey, thanks for listening to the Patterns of Possibility. If you're ready to build relationships without the mask, visit patternsofpossibility.com. You don't have to do the connection the hard way. You just have to do it your way. Thanks for listening. And if you've got something of value from this podcast, you can really help us out by adding a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to, because it really helps other people find the podcast, and it'll help other people understand how to build these meaningful relationships. Share with a friend. Thank you so much. Take care.